Welcome back to the Black Jersey. It's your boy Max hosting a great rugby channel here on YouTube. Before you start the video, make sure to go down, like and subscribe to this channel because I want to hit 5k by the end of this year. So today's video is going to be a reaction to the British and Irish Lions squad that Warren Gatland named a few days ago. It ended up being a 37-man squad. It was initially going to be 41-man, then they said 36, and over here's the players who I thought were going to be omitted from my initial video. George North, since the video was initially ruled out for injury. So 23 players from the first video I predicted were going to get in, ended up getting into the squad. So I'm going to run through the list of who's in the squad and have a look at my predictions and kind of meet Gats in the middle to see who I disagree with and who I obviously agree with. So without further ado, I'm going to go to the hookers, and the hookers are Luke Cowan-Dickie, Jamie George and Ken Owens. George and Owens are coming back for a second Lions tour. I'm happy with those guys. And Luke Cowan-Dickie, I still believe will be the starting hooker, so I got all three spot on. Now we're over to the props. Xander Fagerson has done very well over the Six Nations, and so I'm happy to see the guy included. I didn't think he was going to get picked because I just had that feeling, oh, you know, Kyle Sinclair's always going to get picked, he'll get picked, but actually, he didn't get picked, and I'm happy for Xander Fagerson because Kyle Sinclair's discipline is not very trustworthy. We've then got Andrew Porter. Andrew Porter can cover both sides of the scrum, and so he's probably a bit more valuable than Tom Francis from Wales. We then have Todd Furlong, no surprises. Everyone knew he was going to make the squad. He's a brilliant player. He's so fit, so good with ball in hand. He's an amazing scrummager. He makes big hits in the tackle. Todd Furlong can just do everything. Good on him again. Marco Vunipola's got back in, and mate, I'm not happy with that. The Vunipola brothers had a pretty poor Six Nations, and I think Marco Vunipola's possibly just come in for experience, because obviously when a first choice player goes down, you do need to bring up an experienced player for a big kind of occasion like this, and so I guess that's possibly the angle they took with Marco Vunipola. We then have Rory Sutherland, who I'm very happy to see in the squad. Rory Sutherland has so many injury setbacks early in his career. He's finally got back last year, and this year he's a British and Irish Lion, and he's become a regular starter for Scotland. Good on him. I hope he starts. And for the final loose head prop spot, I know it's not going to be Sutherland starting because Wyn Jones is currently the best player in Wales, and so it's no surprise to see Wyn Jones in the team. Now, for the locks, Alan Wyn Jones being named captain, I knew was going to happen. It's possibly rugby's worst kept secret of all time. As soon as he re-signed before the 2019 World Cup was over, I was just like, oh yep, Alan Wyn Jones is going for another Lions tour. There we go, he'll become the most capped player of all time, which he already has. And he's extended his contract even further. The guy just keeps going and going. He doesn't run out of energy. And I just hope he's not going to wreck his body beyond belief, but while you're fit, you might as well just keep playing. And Maro Itoje, no surprises there, is also there at lock, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Maro Itoje be his locking partner, as I discussed in the previous video, because having a partnership is real important for your locks. We then have Tide Burn, who a lot of people commented should have been in my prediction video. Warren ball often requires two open sides, and Warren Gatland often seems to go with a crash ball number 8 that can also be used as a wide receiver, hence Faletau having played so many tests and Ross Moriarty playing quite a few over the years. CJ Stander has been omitted for Tide Burn, and I'm thinking that maybe he's looking at someone that can fill in a similar role to Pieter-Steph du Toit. So now that Burn is actually in the team, which I didn't think would happen, Burn could possibly start, I'd say. We've then got Ian Henderson as another lock. He's returning for a second Lions tour. He'll possibly be a captain for the midweek sides, and I'm happy he got in because I predicted he would. Johnny Hill, though, I disagree with that call. Johnny Hill's not a very experienced player, and I think his discipline is a worry, but Johnny Gray perhaps isn't as mobile around the park, so I can kind of see why Gats would have possibly wanted Johnny Hill in there. We've then got Courtney Laws. I didn't think he was going to go because he's had a pretty tough time with injury as of late, but he's still going to get on the plane, and so obviously he might have the chance to reach his 100th test before the World Cup if he's still around by then. Now back into the loose forwards as we were talking about before. Jack Conan. Really, man? Jack Conan is a guy that I've barely even taken any notice of in the past, and I don't think he's been that good for the Lions, but now that you mention it, he's possibly a guy that fits into Gatland's game plan more, because he's basically specialist at being a wide receiver forward, so he can always make those clear outs and in the wide channels and, help out those wingers at the breakdown, so that way they're not isolated and all that kind of stuff. I'd never pick Conan, but for that kind of game plan, I can understand the use for him. Tom Curry, we all knew that would happen. He's world class. Toby Faletau's back in. I knew that was going to happen. Gatland loves him. But because CJ Stander has not made the tour, I do think Toby Faletau will now be starting at number 8. Justin Tipuric's got in. Justin Tipuric is a fantastic player. He's so loyal to Wales. I think it's actually his 3rd Lions tour, and he just keeps going. The guy, he's going to reach 100 tests. I've got a lot of respect for him. He's one of the form players in Wales right now. And Hamish Watson, Six Nations Player of the Tournament, has got in. No surprises there. Well deserved to Hamish Watson. And he's possibly going to be starting at 7 as well. And if he's not starting at 7, well then Gatland is no longer my favourite coach. Now, the last loose forward pick I want to talk about for a bit longer than the rest. I know that Sam Simmons scores a lot of tries. I know he's got a lot of acceleration on his feet, but that kind of stuff, all those flashy highlights, that's for the backs to do. Sam Simmons is only 6 feet tall and 103 kgs. I'm not even a professional athlete. I'm both taller than him and heavier than him. But seriously, Sam Simmons is not tall enough to be lifted in the line out. He doesn't make enough turnovers for me. The guy just doesn't throw his weight around like a lot of these other big boys. I know that it's more about technique than size when it comes to things like your tackling and your jackling at the breakdown, but Sam Simmons did not play very well in the 2018 Six Nations when he last played a test, and he just wasn't putting in the hard yards for England. I don't think Eddie Jones was right to leave him and his brother Joe out of his squad as of late, because the Simmons brothers do not fit Jones's game plan. Jones always wants to have a first 5 that will unlock his squad and be able to bring out the best in his teammates. And because he always starts 2 open side flankers, which you have to do, because his game plan is revolving around getting a lot of quick ball for his backs. And because of that, you're always going to need a 3rd jumper in the line-out, so you'll either need a big ball-carrying number 8 that's also quite tall. I'd like to see Alex Dombrond come in and fill that role, because Billy Vunipola is not playing well at all. It's time for the guy to retire, and if you're not going to have a big ball-carrying number 8 that's got some height, well then you need a 3rd lock to be starting at 6. Simmons fills out neither of those roles. Simmons is not good enough to play for England, so I don't see any reason why he should be in the British and Irish Lions. I think the selection of Sam Simmons is actually devaluing the Lions jersey, because the guy has not played Test rugby in 3 years. I understand that Sam Simmons often makes a highlight reel, but in my personal opinion, Sam Simmons to me is a scapegoat that a lot of the couch coaches use to prove why they're so much better at coaching than Eddie Jones, perhaps the second to greatest coach in the history of rugby after Sir Graham Henry. Yeah, that was probably a wee bit of a long rant about Sam Simmons, so I'll try to keep the backs a bit shorter. I've got Gareth Davis in there, no surprise to see him in. I'm not really sure why Thomas Williams isn't there, but Ali Price is a pretty good player, so I'm all good with Ali Price being in there. He's a real good distributor of the ball, he's got a good box kicking game, he runs great support lines, so good to see him in there. And Connor Murray kind of symbolises that 9 is the weakest position the Lions have available, because Connor Murray is a very experienced player who is likely to be starting, but he just isn't playing like his old self anymore, so I do think the Lions are going to have a lot of trouble with 9, and so I really hope that they can get going without a need for a world-class 9. The first 5s are Dan Biggar, Owen Farrell and Finn Russell. I thought that Sexton's previous experience in previous Lions tours would help him out in terms of his selection, but Johnny Sexton was not selected because his body is far too brittle, and that's a pretty good call because the guy's been injured a lot lately, and if Sexton wasn't going to go, then Dan Biggar was always going to go. You know, these 4 players are all world class, and one of them had to miss out, so it was Sexton. I'm still in favour of Finn Russell being a great impact player off the bench. He's a pretty crafty guy, and Owen Farrell, you've got to start him. End of story. Now, the centres are very different to the centres I predicted to make the squad. George North has since torn his ACL, so won't be going on the tour, and so they've brought in Bundy Aki, who is perhaps a pretty ill-disciplined player. But Aki's a great crash ball runner. He brings out the best in his team by running up the guts, and he'll be a great dummy for the number 8, who's possibly going to be going out a wee bit wider. Bundy Aki is very powerful, and he's the first player from his club to make the Lions in about 30 years, so I'm very happy for him in that regard. We've then got Elliot Daly. Poor decision, end of story. Daly shouldn't be there. Chris Harris is then in there as well. He's a great defender, but he's not the best attacker. So I'm really hoping that they've got a backline besides Harris that's completely potent and world class when they're attacking, and they're going to do it lethally, because Chris Harris is a lot more of a defensive player, in my opinion. We've then got Robbie Henshaw, and no surprises to see Robbie Henshaw in. He's going to be starting. We all know it. He's world class, he's experienced, and he's still in his 20s, believe it or not. You know, he's a big man who can distribute really well. He's got a bit of speed, bit of strength. The guy's got such a good all-round game. He's even got a kicking game, and I'm very happy to see Robbie Henshaw returning for a second Lions tour. Now, for the outside backs, yes, Lewis Rees-Zammit and Duhan van der Merwe, they made it. Good man, Gats, good man. Josh Adams is a lethal finisher as well. I'm happy to see Josh Adams in there. We've also got Anthony Watson as a fullback and wing cover. And we all knew Anthony Watson was going to be going. I just don't think he should be starting though, because Lewis Rees-Zammit has been on fire lately. We then have Stuart Hogg and Liam Williams as the two fullbacks. I was saying in the previous video that any of the guys that I named before were going to miss out for Williams. It was going to be Jacob Stockdale, and that has indeed come true. Williams has got a great hands under the high ball. I didn't think he was going to make the initial squad, but I'm very happy to see him in there. And Stuart Hogg, it was obvious. The guy's perhaps going to captain a couple midweek games rather. I don't know why I said that. And obviously he'll be the starting fullback for the British and Irish Lions in the 3-test series against South Africa. And my prediction is that the Lions are going to win because they've got a beautiful squad with the exception of a couple players. So thanks so much for watching the video, guys. I thought it would be a great video to make, as I am impartial to all the 4 home nations from the UK and Ireland. It's been a lot of fun to make these videos, and thanks so much for watching. So go down, give me a like and subscribe, look at the Patreon, look at the Instagram, and thank you guys very much. I'll see you later, okay?